Welcome everyone to a special 7 minutes or less event where the show I'm reviewing comes out with a TV movie in between seasons. This is mostly in part due to the writer's strike of '07 and '08. For the first time, the studio would see an entire year without 24 due to its delay. And, well, they couldn't have that. So, 24 Redemption was conceived, giving us a filler in between seasons. Make no mistake, it isn't some one-off TV movie that has no consequence. It's definitely integral to setting things up for Season 7. 24 Redemption is set almost 4 years after the events of Season 6, placing Jack in a different area other than LA. Finding himself in Sangala, Africa, Jack performs missionary work helping out a longtime friend, Carl Benton, played by Robert Carlyle, who runs a school for the young children of that region. Several things threaten this, and it's not just because of Jack. While an embassy official holds Jack accountable for past crimes of torture, prompting Jack to bail so he doesn't stand in the way of Carl's work, a coup is arising led by Colonel Ike Dubaku, and he is recruiting children for this uprising, and the school is on the radar. A shadow organization run by Jonas Hodges, played by Jon Voight, funds this rebel militia, and Jonas Hodges is looking to wipe any involvement of himself or his company. The story really begins when a stockbroker, Chris Whitley, is tasked by these conspirators to eliminate this information. Chris turns to President-elect Allison Taylor's son, Roger Taylor, for help. This couldn't have happened at a better time, as all of this is on the day that the president-elect is inaugurated. President Noah Daniels, from the events of Season 6, brings Taylor up to speed about the matters in Sangala, and of course we see the passing of the torch between the characters we had seen from Season 6 into now Season 7. Thus begins our story for 24 Redemption. On November 23rd, 2008, 20-year-old me was beyond excited for this. Not only for a TV movie, but just the next year following it, January, 24 would return with its 7th season. Then, as a bonus, 24 would be released on DVD one day after the season finale aired. So it was like a reward. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 24 Redemption is unique to the series as it's the first TV film to ever come out after copious amounts of talks about a 24 movie were to come out. What this TV movie does above all else is give us enough context to understand what's to come in the next season. Where previous seasons before just kind of gave you a vague context as to what happened to these characters before, you now have faces to names and a precursor to the plot unfolding, which is unique and surprising in a lot of ways. That being said, at the time of recording this, the producers have announced that a 24 movie is in early development, so we'll see where that goes and what develops from there. Focusing on Jack, we are seeing him in a new area, but not completely out of his element, because we all know trouble follows Jack, and if it gets too loud, Jack's gonna do something about it. Savagely. Jack is in a respite, but very much broken down after the Season 6 events, and dare I say, Season 5's, and they looked etched on his face. Jack just wants to be left alone, but he's not above doing what's right. Where his friend Benton allows him to stay and work with him, it's only when the funding will be pulled if Benton doesn't give up Jack. And that's where, of course, Jack bows out and tries to prevent as much trouble as possible. All this to say, we do get to see the human side of Jack that has been long missing for quite a while, and all of that is in favor of one of the best characters to come in 24's history in a very long while. Jack isn't above making friends, but the unlikely duo comes down to Willie and Jack. Willie is a student of Benton's school and basically forces out a father-like figure for Jack, protecting Willie. Willie's probably my favorite character, and this kid is just so damn good. I cannot stress this enough. He is sweet, adorable, and no spoilers, take this for what you will, but he doesn't show up anywhere else after this, but gives us just enough time to bring out the humanity in Jack. This is just some good writing I will never get over. Seeing Jack in this moment in time almost feels like he has almost lost it, and Willie reminds him of who he is. Concurrently to the events in Sangala, we have President-elect Allison Taylor's storyline, and she is introduced at a very low point in time in the show's history, given the fact that their first black president years before dropped out of the race for his second term, and then the country lost him over assassination attempt. Now, where I'm condensing events after that, the world watched as President Logan was exposed to the public as a traitor to his country. And as a response to get back on course, Wayne Palmer is elected as president, David Palmer's little brother, only for an assassination attempt to take him during his presidency, passing the torch to Vice President Noah Daniels, who, in retrospect, wasn't a villain, but was seen rather unorthodox in his own methods. So, the presidency isn't all that it's cracked up to be, with the corrupt politicians and assassinating as an end result. All this to say, Allison Taylor has some big shoes to fill, and her desire to give people a government they deserve and promises to look out for their future is a decent standpoint to start her off. Despite the irony of this review coming out at a time like this, where real-life history is congruent to the fictitious events of this show despite being on the opposite spectrum, this show isn't very political, but keeps matters and issues on the level. That's not to say that there aren't moments where they speak on political events, but not much fallout is heard except for a random news outlet on the TV somewhere talking about the events. Understanding where the people of the United States are coming from is really derived from the succession of presidents. And behind every president is the war-torn, ends justify the means, one-man army, former agent, Jack Bauer, ready to do business, unpolitically, because he's our action hero. So, speaking of action, let's talk about this for a second. This TV movie event has all the bells and whistles to keep anyone entertained in that department. 24 has always been known for its realism and action, but never falls short of being intellectually driven before the gunfights start, the car chases commence, and proper action beats that lead to Emmy-worthy conflict is delivered in raw capacity that keeps it real. The results are more guerrilla style given the nature of the situation. With no ticking bomb or madman ready to press a button to disperse a pathogen, this makes for a more driven conflict with boots on the ground. When lives are lost, you feel it. When time is of the essence, you get it. Characters get sad, but then they have to move on. When ultimatums are made, it's a precursor of what's to come. This is a well-made standalone story that allows your curiosity to expand further if you wish to explore. In the end, guys and gals, 24 Redemption doesn't require a lot of information to get into. This is a perfect place to start if you find yourself just looking for a taste of what the show is like. For the show's sake of 7 minutes or less, I won't rate this TV movie or the rest of the seasons going forward, as I need to work on my own rating system. But for anyone interested in the show, 24 is still on Hulu at the time of recording this. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this review, please give it a like, maybe share, and if you're feeling generous and if you want to see more, subscribe. The more people get on my channel and subscribe, the more I can keep doing this. Let me know down in the comments. Be kind, be reasonable, and let's talk. Thank you again, and I will see you all next time.